Hello there, and happy Monday. Welcome to today's Heart to Heart. I'm your host, Karen Del Maestro, your health and transformation coach, also breast cancer, rocketry thriver, and kick-ass bounce back expert. So, what are we talking about today on today's episode? As you're coming in, get comfy, get settled, grab a cup of tea, because today we're talking about something that you may not have considered yet, which is, are you following Mother Nature's lead? What do I mean by that? Have you ever noticed at certain times of the year you feel a certain way, right? What do you feel like in the winter? You want to hibernate, right? You want to go inwards. It's about reflection, it's about solitude and literally hibernating, right? This is how we feel in the winter. What about the summer? What are you feeling in the summer typically, right? We want to get out. It's more adventurous. It's about travel. We tend to feel more confident no matter what our body looks like, right? But we're taking action and typically being outside more in the summer. So what about now? What about the spring? What is the spring all about? Well, as I think about the spring, and our holidays tie into this too, right? Whether it's Easter or Passover or any other holidays that you might be going through. But for me, spring symbolizes a time of rebirth, a time for change, a time for enhancement, personal growth, personal development. It's like Mother Nature is asking you to grow. And I was reflecting this past weekend on what that looked like for me, even as a kid. I remember growing up in the UK, which is where I grew up, and we lived in a really small village, like maybe 800 people, if you can imagine that. There was one church, one pub, one tiny little store that was also the post office, and a lot of history in this little quaint English village. And I always remember one of my favorite things to do in the spring. We had a dog at the time, a beagle, mischievous beagle called Benji, a bit of an escape artist, if I'm being honest. I remember many, many, many hours of chasing Benji around the village, trying to find him and bring him home again. But one of our favorite things to do with Benji was to go up to our local woods. There was woods. And if you can imagine something that feels quite Disney-esque, really, quite magical, right? This wandering path through the woods, these tall trees where sunlight would hit you at certain spots. But you'd be protected from the English rain if it was raining. It was a canopy. Very Disney-esque as I look back and I reflect on this. And spring was always one of my favorite times up there because there would be a blanket of bluebells, kind of this violet periwinkle blue shade, and just blanketed all over the bottom. And as I think about that, and you may even be able to see it on my face, like I can't hide it, it brings me such joy, such excitement. And every spring, this happens for me as I see things start to grow, right? So Mother Nature in the spring, we're seeing tulips and daffodils that have been hidden in a little bulb under the earth all winter. And they're suddenly popping up. The crocuses, the bluebells, all of these flowers that have been dormant are suddenly popping up. And it's always made me smile. Always, always, always. And so it got me to thinking, like, why? Why does the spring feel that way? So it's not just dictated by religious holidays, but it is, if we follow Mother Nature's lead, a time of growth, a time of rebirth, a time for renewal, a time to let go of what isn't working for you, and a time to embrace what is. And it's a time where we tend to look at developing new skills, right? New habits. We're more open to change. What I've also noticed through 20 years of working in health and wellness, 20 years of working with people, is that our mindset alters in spring. We become more open to change. We become less resistant, less scared, less fearful of taking a leap that maybe we wouldn't have made otherwise. It's a time for expanding knowledge, right? A time for expanding opportunities. And let me know in the chat if you feel this way too about spring. But it's a time where we tend to be quite insightful and start looking forward, setting goals, thinking about what does the future look like. Now, I also know, right, if we talk about life after breast cancer, or any trauma for that matter, I also know that it can be hard to look forward, that it can be hard to see what a future might look like, what goals might look like, how to reimagine a path forward, because perhaps life doesn't feel like it fits where you are right now. You might feel like you're a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. And if you're feeling that way, spring is the perfect time. No matter what's going on in your life, no matter what your energy level is, no matter how stressed you might feel, spring is the perfect time, if we follow Mother Nature's lead, to start inviting in change, to start inviting in new thoughts, new ideas, different ways of doing things that might work better for you in your life, right? So we've talked about which is the best season to plan and reflect, and that's winter. And the season to take that leap of faith into something new, into something unknown, but with a level of trust, with a level of faith, taking the hand of somebody that has a proven path, then this spring is the time to do that. No ifs, ands, or buts. And here's the thing, right? When we think about change, when we think about doing something different, when we think about reimagining what our life can look like and feel like, it feels uncomfortable. And it's not unusual to get butterflies. And it's not unusual to feel that, like, oh, that kind of feeling. That's not unusual. But guess what? We're going to feel like that anytime we're stepping out of our comfort zone. Anytime we're doing something different. I know that I have this conversation with people as they're signing up for my group coaching program, Thrivership School. And I'll often ask, how do you feel right now? And they're like, I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. And that's when you know that it's just the right thing for you. Just the right thing for you. Change is uncomfortable. But so is staying stuck. So is feeling overwhelmed. So is feeling scared of change, of uncertainty. Those are uncomfortable too. And so you get to decide where you want to feel that uncomfortable, either in this place of growth and being supported and heard and understood, or staying where you are and feeling uncomfortable and stuck. You get to make that decision, right? And only you. You're the only one that can decide that. So what do you do when you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, scared, stressed to the nines? Maybe you're feeling like you're barely hanging on. I've been there, trust me. Prior to breast cancer, and going back probably about 10 years from now, I was in a major car accident, life-altering car accident. And I was a personal trainer at the time, so I relied on my body for my job. And I was very active. I was a biathlete. I was on my feet 13, 14 hours a day and relied on my body a lot. And then one morning on my way to work, I was rear-ended by a produce truck on an empty 3-lane highway at 4:30 in the morning. Weird, right? That car accident, first of all, I was lucky to walk away from. Thankfully, I had my seatbelt on. I did hit my head on the steering wheel, but I ended up with 5 herniated discs that I live with on a daily basis from my neck all the way down my spine. And what happened with that car accident is everything changed in that 1 second. Much like a breast cancer diagnosis can do for you, right? Your whole life changes as soon as you hear those spine-chilling words. You've got breast cancer. I didn't know if I was going to be able to walk again. I didn't know if I was going to be able to ride a bike again. I didn't know any of those things. What I do know is I still live with daily pain. It's part of my life. That's why I take care of myself the way I do, with hydration and food and stretching and movement and all of the things, managing up here. All of the things that I do are because of that. But in that moment, I lost everything. I ended up losing my job because I couldn't do it anymore, which meant I could no longer afford my house. I was a single mom at the time, and the pressure that I felt, I can't even describe. But I do know that it's a pressure that we so often feel after breast cancer, right? To get back to doing everything. And much like me, and this is why when I got to breast cancer, I knew what I had to do. I knew I couldn't go back. I knew that I had to reimagine what the path forward was. That's because I'd been there before, not through breast cancer, but through many, many, many traumas, starting with this car accident. I remember that feeling of being overwhelmed, saying, what do I do for work now? How am I going to make money? How am I going to keep a roof over our head? How am I going to put food on the table? How am I going to do this? I was like barely hanging on, trying to keep my head above water, trying to figure it all out. I understand that feeling of being overwhelmed. I understand that feeling of being scared and that feeling of uncertainty and not knowing where to go and what to do. And for the first time in my life, what I did was I reached out. I'd been in therapy before for various things, but this was different. I knew I needed more than that, because therapy is great for dealing with the here and now, but not so much for the looking forward and the planning part. And so what I did was twofold. I started to work with a trauma therapist to help me with the massive PTSD. And by the way, what is not talked about often, and my dear friend, Dr. Christy Hibbett, talks about this all the time, and I'm so grateful for her verbalizing this, is more than 80% of breast cancer survivors are dealing with PTSD. You probably didn't know it. You probably didn't realize it. You just know how hypervigilant you are, and how often that anxiety gets hit, how hard things are now. So after my car accident, I worked with a trauma therapist to help me with that PTSD. I learned so many tools that have helped me through breast cancer. The second thing I did was I worked with a life coach, a coach that could help me plan my future, a coach that could, and it wasn't her job to give me that, but it was her job to help me get to a place where I could see it. And that's what I get to do today with people, right? Is help them see and reimagine what that future can look like, so that it's aligned with you and what you really want. And you don't know that right now. And how do I know that? Because most of us, when we're diagnosed with breast cancer, aren't thinking about ourselves. We're thinking about everybody else. We're focusing on what everybody else needs. And how do I know that? Because it's part of the cancer personality traits. I got to learn these lessons 10 years ago. I got to create a system, an actual formula to follow that helps me bounce back after every trauma. I share that system in Thrivership School, my group coaching program. I hold nothing back. It's a very intimate environment where you're heard, where I see you, where I care for you, where I get to guide you and hold your hand and take you forward as you reimagine the path forward. As we said, what do you do to start that process? Well, I think first of all, you have to decide that where you are is not where you want to be. You're the only one that gets to decide that, right? You have to kind of think, I've had enough of feeling like this. This is not how I want to feel. That's how I felt after my car accident. I'm like, I don't even know how to live my life in this place. What I do know is it sucks. What I do know is I'm scared. What I do know is everything is uncertain from this point forward. And I think that going through breast cancer can feel very, very, very similar to that. That's why I'm uniquely qualified to support you as you go forward on this journey. And so and here's the thing, right? If we're following Mother Nature's lead, now is the time. There is, I think we're so good at telling ourselves, well, when my daughter's wedding is done, then I'll be free. Or when my grandson is done with this, then I'll be free. Or my husband just has to do something and then I'll be free. Or my partner needs to go on this trip and when they're back, then yeah, I'll be free. I'll be good. Guess what? You, my friend, are putting your life on hold and everybody else is getting on with theirs. I'm not okay with that. Because what I know that you might not know yet is that you matter and your life matters and you deserve to enjoy it. You deserve to be happy. And you might not know how to do it yet. That's why you bring in somebody like me. That's why you come and take a class. And I'm going to tell you about an upcoming class that I have shortly. Come and take a class with me and learn how to start moving forward. Spring is the perfect time if we're following Mother Nature's lead, and I'm a huge fan of that. Even when it comes down to food, right? I like to eat seasonal food. I believe that if Mother Nature is providing it to us right now, this is what we're supposed to be eating. Simple. Same with our decisions in life. Same with how we're showing up. When we follow Mother Nature, we're more aligned. We automatically feel more connected. We automatically feel more grounded. And so if you've been sat thinking, I just feel like I don't know what's next. If you're sat feeling like I don't even know who I am and what I want out of my life, you might even be feeling like that since breast cancer, like feeling like you're meant for more, like there's something bigger out there, something more important for you, some kind of purpose that maybe you don't know yet, and that's okay. But these are all signs that you're ready for change, right? Ready to stop doing things the way that you've always done them. That's what I learned with my car accident. That car accident took me off the hamster wheel of life. Breast cancer can take you off the hamster wheel of life. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Because when we stop off that hamster wheel of life, we are stopping doing what everybody else has told us that we should be doing. Whether it's friends, family, culture, work, school, all of the noise that people have said, and we've all bought into it. And I bought into it prior to my car accident. We just do what everybody else thinks that we should be doing. And we're on the hamster wheel of life, going through the motions, not even thinking that life can be different. I'm here to tell you life can be different. Life can be so much better than you ever imagined. More energy, more calm, more focus, feeling more connected to your loved ones, showing up for those conversations, laughing on the sidelines as you're watching your grandkids play a game. Like, why are you here? What do you want? Like, really want? Do you want to travel? Do you want to go to Europe? Are you sitting in a vineyard in Italy having homemade pasta and a glass of wine? Like, what is it that you want from your life? On my bucket list, my hubby and I want to go to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia and scuba dive. I take steps to make that happen. It's on my bucket list. It's a vision. It's going to happen. I don't know when yet. Don't have all the details figured out yet, but it's going to happen. And I'm not going to stop it. That's the joy that I want you to experience in your life. And so often we feel like we've been stripped of that joy, right? Because breast cancer can be all consuming. The grief, the sadness, the uncertainty, the fear, getting sick again. All of those things can make us feel imprisoned by this disease. I have the key to get you out. I have a robust toolbox to help you cope with the grief and the fear, the sadness, the uncertainty. The question is, what are you going to decide to do? Are you going to decide to stay where you are today? Or are you going to decide to follow Mother Nature's lead and say, could be time for change? Could be time for change. Because spring is the perfect time, no matter what's going on. Life's always going to be busy. Life's always going to happen. It's how we take care of ourselves through the process that makes the difference. So with all of that being said, I promise that I tell you where to go and what to do next, right? I have a class coming up, how to get your energy and your life back so that we can start to reimagine the path forward. So if you want to learn some of my tips and tricks, I'm going to be sharing them inside this complimentary, my gift to you class. All you have to do is there's a link around this video. Click on that link. You'll get all the information that you need about the class, when it is, how long it is, what you'll learn, all of those things. So hop on over to that link today. Don't hesitate, right? Take 60 to 90 minutes of your life dedicated to you to see if what I'm teaching makes sense to you. If it doesn't, that's okay. You're still going to walk away with so many tools. So many tools. But I promise you, you're going to have one of the biggest aha moments of your life. Because getting to where I am today, getting to be this kick-ass bounce back expert that I am, I did it by doing something that is probably not even on your radar, but is available to every single one of you. So click wherever you're watching around this video, you'll see the link to how to get your energy and life back after breast cancer specifically. But you know what? If you've been through another trauma and this is resonating with you, then come on in. I welcome you with open arms. I'm never going to turn anybody away, right? If this is all resonating with you and you're like, yes, Karen, that's exactly where I am. That's exactly what I need. Then click the link. Sign up for the class. And let's spend 60 to 90 minutes. And I say 60 to 90 because it is a live class. We have conversation. I'm available for questions. And it's two-way. I'm not just talking to a computer. I'm talking specifically to you. And you get to ask me questions that are relevant to you in your life and how what I'm talking about, the tools that I'm going to be sharing with you, and which is in fact my 6-step proven formula to help you get your energy back. You get to ask me questions right there, right then, so that you are walking away with your life already changed. So do it, okay? Mother Nature is saying this is the time. There is no perfect time. There is no right time. Only you get to decide. Are you fed up of feeling the way that you feel today? You fed up of feeling sucked dry, like every ounce of everything you're doing is for everybody else, and there's just nothing left for you. That is not sustainable. It's not going to help you lower your risk of getting sick again. And, if we think about it, right, if we change nothing in our habits, in our daily adventures, in the way that we think about ourselves, the way that we treat ourselves, if nothing changes there, then wouldn't it make sense that the result doesn't change? So if you keep doing what you've already done, you're not changing your risk of getting sick again. I don't want you to get sick again. And as somebody that lives with a high risk BRCA2 genetic mutation, I've changed a lot in my life since breast cancer. A lot. And a lot of it is to do with my mindset, how I look at things, how I set boundaries, even clearer than I did before. Knowing really in my heart, in my core, who I am and what I want. That Great Barrier Reef, scuba diving with all the gorgeous fish. I can't wait because I know it's going to happen. Can't wait. So let me know. Drop a me underneath after you've registered. And I want to see you there. I want to see you in class. I want to see you saying yes to you. I want to see you saying something has to change. And let's use the energy of Mother Nature, right? Because sometimes I feel like change is us trying to, it's like an uphill battle, right? Where we're trying to push. Well, guess what? When we do it with Mother Nature, she's going to help pull you along because this is the time for growth. This is the time for change. This is the time to get things going. The perfect time. Okay, so I hope to see you in class. And if you are watching this at a time that is not spring, still go ahead and click that link. I teach this class at different times throughout the year. So go ahead and click the link. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Karen Del Maestro. You can find me at my website, karendelmaestro.com. That's Karen with an I. Or over on Facebook in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. We have an active community, so supportive of women from around the globe going through this breast cancer journey and not wanting to be in a group full of negativity. That's realistic, that's honest, that's open, but supportive, loving, and optimistic at the same time. An amazing, amazing group of amazing women. So again, that's the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. So sign up for class. Come visit me anywhere. Feel free to send me a message. I love to connect with people, and I will be seeing you soon. Thanks for watching. You're welcome, Susan. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye for now.